right, so ladies and gentlemen, hey, we're all giving 140. 140, and if you're wondering why the chairs over at this side has been changed, it is because we're about to have capacity building workshops. This is what we're about to have right now, and I'm just hoping that everybody will get here early so that we can start, because we were supposed to start almost like 10 minutes ago, but unfortunately most of you did not agree with the 140. It's almost 2 p.m. So let's give the others 5 minutes to get here so that we can start the capacity building workshops right away. Well, you can sit anywhere that you want to. Don't worry so much about the change or the different arrangement of the chairs that you see. We did that for a purpose, and very soon I'm going to let you on that. So please, sit anywhere that you want to sit, regardless of how the chairs have been changed, the arrangements have been changed. I think I can begin, and then the rest will join us later. I think I should. All right, so I'm sure that you're all full after lunch. Can we stretch a little bit? Please, can we all stand and stretch a little bit? Because the point is, we are going to get into capacity building workshops, and we need to be energized. When we had the tea break, I wanted to do that. Most of you didn't want to. Oh, please, let's stand a bit. Let's stand a bit. My 2x4 exercise regimen will take you through stretching of your limbs and your legs. And hey, some people are becoming straight now. All right, let's stretch a little bit. Oh, are you beginning to hear the Ajay, the hands? Let the hands go. Ajay. The fufu is digesting. Tilapia. All right, thank you very much. You may now have your seat. Let's take our seats. All right. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the capacity building workshops that we're going to have. These are two things that would happen here. One would go to the normal other side that we've been going to, the same way that I've been doing when it comes to the breakout section. I'm going to give you two stories or two topics that you're going to pick one from, and then you get to go outside. So let me quickly get the stories for you. Capacity building workshop. Story number 1, techniques for eliciting requirements that captures and meets business needs. And then information technology, IT project management, PM techniques for value delivery. So for those of you that are for information technology, project management techniques for value delivery, please, can you raise your hands? How many of you so far? Please, if you've risen your hands, please, Charlie, Fufu and Kasa, please, can you stand up? Please go to the other side. And that workshop is going to be led by ICT Manager, PMO Lead, ECG, Engineer Dr. Mrs. Enyonam Bekwena. So please, if you want to be part of the information technology, project management techniques for value delivery, please, you can go outside to the other side to join that workshop. And then the workshop that would happen over here has to do with techniques for eliciting requirements that captures and meets business needs, and it's going to be led by Mr. Emmanuel Amankwanor. So please, those of you that would have to go outside to the other side, kindly do so. A round of applause for Mr. Emmanuel Amankwanor as he steps on stage to lead us.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. And as Mr. MC said, this site has been arranged in such a way that it mimics a workshop. This is a capacity building workshop, and it's not going to be a presentation. So I'm not going to do the talking, but participants are going to be engaged live here. So we will need, for each session, 10 people to be there. So please, any of us here, move and join the 10 seats arrangement as part of our capacity building workshop. And for our online participants, you also form one group. So one group for online participants, and then we should have about 6 groups over here as well. So for those of us who are not very familiar with workshops, we're using this as a case study on how to run workshop. And I like the way some other colleagues have improvised and adapted to create their own group. Fantastic. That is great. And if it is possible, we want to have a mixture of personnel from different organizations so that we can learn from one another. We don't want to have like minds or gathering together, because diversity is good most times. So if we can have diverse people meeting together, that would be very great. We want to learn. Okay, so this is the capacity building workshop to teach us something that we already know, but how to do it better. These are not new things. We already know them. We've been doing them. But just to put them in perspective, and also to see what we can learn from other people who are also here. So I'm not going to do much with the talking. Much of the engagement will be with the gathered groups. Okay. Now, for every workshop, okay. Oh, okay. So, in handling a workshop, you need to have an agenda. So what is our agenda? What is the content of what we are going to engage in for today? We are going to look at the objectives of this workshop. We will look at certain ground rules, and then we'll enter into the actual engagement of the elicitation activities. So let's take them one by one. This workshop, we have the objectives as we see on the screen. We want to understand what requirements elicitation actually is, and then how it impacts the things we do in our organizations. We also look at tools, inputs, outputs of this process of elicitation. And then we will look at some techniques that have worked. And please, we are not looking at techniques that will work, that have worked, that you have used, that have worked for you, and then we can learn from you. That is what we want to do. So, look forward to when to use the technique, how to use it, and if there are any drawbacks that we need to know. Now let's look at the ground rules. Like I said, we have diverse people. We want to have diversity so that we can learn from different people. So our ground rule number 1, everyone's input is equal and valued. So we don't want to stifle anyone from providing ideas. Everyone's idea input is valued. Then, because we come from different backgrounds, we want to keep jargons to the minimum. Meaning, if we are using acronyms, we are using certain words, it may be peculiar to our industry or our domain of work. So let's keep that to a minimum as much as possible. Share your experiences, good or bad. We want to learn. That is why we are here. So we want to have an open mind. We may have different opinions from our team members. So let's have an open mind. Whatever somebody brings up that may not be what we know or we want to challenge, we need to have an open mind to accept new things. Then also minimize distractions. We have phones with us. As I can see, some of our friends are already doing some chats on the phones. It's fine, but we want to minimize that. If it is really critical, we want to do that. But if it's possible, let's minimize the distractions. Then also, if you are sharing relevant information, be brief. If you take the whole time, others will not be able to have the opportunity to talk. So let's make it brief so that others, because we have a limited amount of time to work within. So if we take the whole opportunity, then others will not be able to have that. Ask questions for clarification. Don't ask questions for attacking other people's ideas. It happens in meetings, right? Sometimes we become a bit more personal than professional. So we want to not attack people's ideas. And during the group activities, avoid defensive behaviors and statements. So these are the ground rules. Any question on the ground rules? Because I don't want to be the only one providing the ground rules. Ideally, it would have been a better way for all of us to contribute to the ground rules. But if you have any questions about the ground rules, please feel free, and then you can make your comment. Any questions? Okay, no questions. Ground rules adopted, yes or no? Those who say no, show by hands. Okay, no one says no. It means we adopt it. Thank you very much. Now let's look at the engagement. Now this slide I are seeing is only 10 slides. Much of the work is going to happen here. So the first thing we want to do is to get papers, and I have arranged for our ladies there to get us sheets for each group. Now what each group is going to do, we are going to look at what elicitation is. So your group will have to define what elicitation is. So start thinking about what the definition should be. And think about it, it is a group work. It is not individual work. That is how we are running this workshop. At the end of the day, each group would submit their definitions and their techniques that they have used that work in their organizations. So are you ready? Are we ready? Okay, so let's get the sheets. Perhaps I would assist. Or if we already have sheets, the writing pad that was given to us, we can actually use that as well. So please, does every group have one? We can just tear one sheet from the writing book, and then we do that. Okay, so we are going to use 3 minutes to define or to explain what elicitation is. So please have the discussion among you. At the end of the 3 minutes, we want to write down what we mean or what we understand by requirements elicitation. Please, we are not going to use Google to define it. Let's do it the way we understand it. A layman's view of elicitation. So please, no Googling. So discuss amongst yourself what you think requirements elicitation actually is, and then we put it down. No search engine. In fact, Google is just one of the search engines, so no search engine. Mindset. So we have 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. No Googling, no. No search engine. So participants are supposed to discuss among themselves. Perhaps somebody has a definition there, and then they jot it down. Yes, define what requirements elicitation is. What do you understand by requirements elicitation? So that's a group work. The previous slide. No spectators. Be a citizen. Doesn't give any context. So we have to come up with what we are eliciting. Yes. Requirements elicitation. Yeah. 1 more minute, please. Okay, so discussions should be rounding up, and somebody should document the definition as well as the techniques for doing so. You have 1 more minute to document and then submit your write-up. So please indicate the group leader's name. Nobody was chosen. Somebody has to be appointed by each group to be the leader. And your first name can be on it. 5 techniques that you have used that have worked for requirements elicitation. 5 techniques that you have used and have worked. Okay. So please, let's start rounding up. Let's start completing it. Yes. Okay, so you can stop work now because of our time. Unfortunately, we don't have. So please, can I have your write-ups, please? Can I have your write-ups? Can I have your write-ups? Thank you. Shall we? Just the leader's name. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Can I have yours? Okay. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Good. Okay. Can I please have your write-up? Because of the time. You didn't add the techniques.
You just want to finish it. You are just writing.
Okay, write it and then give it to me. Okay, because of our time, we need to wrap up. Okay, can I have yours, please, with your techniques? The name of the leader. Just the first name is okay. You have your 5 techniques, right? Outlined. Oh no, there was the 5 techniques that have worked for you. 5. Just write them. No, not the definition. Just list them. The list of 5 techniques that have worked for. Yeah. Can I have yours? 5 techniques that have worked. Okay, so I have the 5 techniques here. Please, which group hasn't submitted DS? Okay, we good. Thank you. Anyone? Online participants, we would want you to share your own also for us. Okay. So we have the various definitions over here, and I'm going to read it out for the hearing of everyone, so that we know different perspectives from the different groups. Okay? So, one definition or one explanation says, drawing out, seeking out opinions from stakeholders. Requirements, needs that have to be met to satisfy clients and stakeholders. Thank you. Then techniques, interviews, town hall meetings, focus groups, questionnaires. Missing one. Four were mentioned, right? Then we have the process used in getting customer needs or what the customer wants. Okay? Then techniques, we have meetings, stakeholder identification, observations, interviews, workshops, focus groups. So we have +2 to augment the missing one over here. Okay. To obtain, requesting, getting ideas from project team members. That's another definition. Based on requirements from stakeholders. Okay. As a sponsor, gathering information on what you expect from the project. Okay. Then we have techniques, brainstorming, interviews, sampling, focus group discussions, face-to-face interviews, and questionnaires. Then we have another definition, seeking opinions or gathering information, facts, and ideas to enable us carry out an objective. Okay? Techniques, interviews, survey, focus group discussion, brainstorming, user groups, questionnaire. Then we have another definition, getting the needs from stakeholders, seeking opinions from people, engagements, working session with stakeholders, with clients to determine their requirements, engagement with stakeholders to get their needs and opinions, buy-ins to achieve a set of goals. Techniques, meetings, interviews, surveys, brainstorming sessions, documentation. I think that will be documentation review, then focus group discussion. Then another one, talking or communicating with key stakeholders on an organizational issues and bringing out opinions to make a meaningful decision. Techniques, interview, questionnaires, brainstorming, case study, role-playing, user observation. Then the final one, conversation with the customer to understand their requirements. That is requirement elicitation. Then technique, be a good listener. Assumption is mentioned here. Talk to the customer. Drill down. Know your customer. Then we have feedback. Okay. So now we have noticed that a number of the techniques run through all of them. Did you notice that? Yes. So, from what we have gathered so far, we get to realize that elicitation has to do with understanding what your stakeholders actually need. And I saw a word, want. Which organization wants to focus on wants? That's a question I ask myself. Usually it is about what? Needs. I need shelter. I need food to eat. But do I need a Rolls Royce? Do I need it? Somebody will say yes. Another person may say no. Depending on the what? The situation. Right? Depending on the situation, that may not be a need. But if I am perhaps a CEO that needs to show that I am in a certain class, then I will go and take that one, right? To show that I am in that particular category. So understanding stakeholders' needs, asking questions, probing, drilling down, like I saw in one of the definitions. trying to really unearth what is the real problem, what is the real opportunity. Because when we talk about needs, there are two things for needs: opportunities and problems. These are the two things about needs. So when you want to understand the problem. Is it operational efficiency that we want to improve? Is it customer satisfaction? Is it staff attrition? What is it we want to understand? That is what we are looking at as requirement elicitation, trying to probe, trying to gather information, relevant data to be able to help in making informed decisions. So well done, everyone. A round of applause for all the groups. In fact, the fact that we have been able to engage in that exercise is even something that is good. I could see the discussions going on, the teams discussing among themselves, the various things that they have actually learned. So what is the next thing we want to do? We want one of the team members for each of the teams to explain one of their techniques. And because we have several techniques mentioned here, when I pick your write-up, I just look at one of the techniques, and then you come up and explain what that technique is. It's been discussed among your teams, so you would talk about it. So, unfortunately, I don't have any name on it. So, please, this one, we have town hall meetings. The group that wrote town hall meetings. Yeah, I think it's the group over there, yeah. Okay, I would want to call Mr. Avevo, yeah? He's in that group. So that's where we are now, discussion of at least one of the techniques. So he's going to tell us about one of them, town hall meetings, and then let us know when we can use that, what are the drawbacks, and even how to use it. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Okay, so town hall meetings, I'll start with the situation where it will be useful for public projects, social projects. You would want to get as many stakeholders as possible involved. So town hall meetings are useful for that kind of projects. It allows you to reach out to a lot of people. It allows you to get the views of everybody across the spectrum, not only senior managers or users and so on, but everybody across the spectrum. Yeah.
Thank you very much. But don't go yet. Don't go yet. What are the drawbacks? Imagine any of the organizations want to use town hall to do elicitation of requirements. What are the drawbacks?
Okay. One of the drawbacks is being able to drill down to the real issues that would represent the needs of the people. You would have a lot of people. Ideas might be divergent, and then you need to be able to drill it down to the real issue necessary for the people.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for that group. We have the group represented by Emmanuel. Okay, so we have a number of things here. Drill down, know your customer. So who is coming from your group? I would suggest the only lady in that group would represent the group. That is if only the group agrees. You do? Okay. Because they discuss among themselves before they put it down, right? So she will be in a position to explain what they meant by drill down. Maybe they are telling us we should go and find a drill to bore a hole deep down. Okay, so you.
All right, thank you. So usually when you get customer feedback, you ask them specific questions to understand what the issues are. Sometimes the customers know what they want, sometimes they don't. So when you drill down to the actual questions, you're able to gather information on what specific things they need and what they don't also need. That's it.
Thank you very much. So you are looking at questions, right? Okay. What are some of the drawbacks in trying to drill down in practice?
All right, in practice, usually when you go down, you realize that you limit it to what the focus group is saying or what their thoughts are. So it's specific to a certain niche of your segment. So once you drill down, you get some parts of the information and there are some that you end up missing. So that's the beauty of segmentation. You address the needs of some people and you end up leaving others. That's the drawback.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for her. So sometimes, you see, the need for us to be open-minded. I never knew, I'm being frank, that drill down is a technique that can be used to elicit what? Requirements, right? But I think we have understood what they meant by drill down. Asking questions, perhaps using 5 whys, and going deep, deep, deep down to find the root cause. Good, thank you very much. We'll have Dr. Benjamin, Crunchy Group. So who is representing Dr. Crunchy's group? Please nominate someone else. I would use my veto power to appoint somebody. Okay. So you have a number of them here. And I'm interested in case study as a tool or technique for elicitation. Case study.
Okay, thank you very much. Case study is whereby you target a specific group of people. Then maybe assume you want to send a product there, and maybe you work on it for some short period, and you come out with some results. So.
Thank you very much. So that's the context of a case study, right? Okay. So can you give us practical examples of using case study that you personally have been involved in your organization or maybe in your team? Somebody may have done that.
Okay, thank you, sir. In my organization, like National Identification Authority, we do have a case study, like assuming you wanted to do an update of cars. So actually you chose a geographic area that's within the Accra metropolis town. Yeah. So and you work for there for some number of months, like 4 months. So when things you were able to get a feedback, now you are going to disseminate to the whole of the regional capitals across the country. So this is an example of a case study. So you've been able to get the feedback and you've gotten an expert from it. So at the end of the day, when you are trying to put or practicalize it in those regions, we'll be able to get a usable feedback from the customers as well.
Thank you very much. So please don't go yet. What are the drawbacks? We want to know so that it helps us.
Okay, the drawback is, sometimes when it comes to case study, you just took just a sample of the people, or that geographical area. So there may be less in it. So at the end of the day, maybe when you are looking at from a larger perspective, you may not be able to achieve the target that you got, maybe within the small context that you work on it. So sometimes it affects the thing in the long term. So that's why these are some of the drawbacks when it comes to some of the case studies.
Thank you very much. So that area may not be a reflection of the total. That is the drawback, right? Okay. Let's go to, is it Horace? Horace team? Horace. Please, who is representing Horace team? Somebody should be nominated to be here. Okay. That's great. So you give 6 of them. Can you please talk about number 5, focus group?
Focus group discussion. It's just like we are doing here. It's a group, and it can be from 3 to 10, as we are seated here. And everybody's opinion is brought to bear. So as we all did, it's a focus group discussion we are doing. The drawback for focus group discussion is that the opinions we share are from our backgrounds. So we can't replicate everything we say here to the general population because most of them are specific to our experiences as we are in the groups now. That's the drawback.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So we now move to the next, which will be pink scarf. So pink scarf, who is representing pink scarf? Oh, I thought you had already made a decision. Okay, so I will call Madam Linda to represent the group. Okay, so who is going to volunteer to do this? We want to quickly wrap up. Okay, Mr. Franklin, please represent the group then. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So you also gave 6, and I am interested in user groups. So please give us a background of user groups, when to use it, the drawbacks.
Thank you. Good. So for user groups, the idea is that we have a target, and they are the users. So we solicit to focus groups. The idea is we may have very diverse reasons, opinions, and ideas. And we only need to find a commonality around all of this. But we cannot zero down all of it. We will find commonalities. The ones that don't come often are dropped to a point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much on that one as well. Everywhere you go and associates. Who is representing everywhere you go and associates? Okay. So you also wrote 6, and I would zero in on sampling.
Okay. Though we didn't discuss much about sampling, though. Yeah, but to my own best of knowledge, sampling is like your, like what my colleague earlier said. You said sampling, right? Yeah. So, like I heard my colleague said that they focus on the area. Yeah, no, not my colleague. I was talking about the other group. They have said that they focus on the area, and they take some data, and they develop that data to use for the rest of the whole area or country. So the same thing with sampling. So when you want to sample, you sample a product, you bring it out or you release it to a group of people so that you see their reaction towards use and take data from them. Then you use it to improve your product, or you use it to as a requirement for future products or a release that you are bringing out for you. Thank you very much. Yeah, like you said, because you are targeting a specific group or people, you may lose that from the whole picture. So you may not get the requirements of everybody. You can only get it from the targeted people. Then you may not get the full requirement for everybody. So that may be the drawback, just like what my colleague said.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that as well. Great. I think the last will be the online group. But what we have here, Sariel, if I'm pronouncing the word well, Sariel? Oh, okay. So someone nominated to represent And I'm going to zero in on stakeholder identification as a technique. If you can explain that a bit for us and give us the drawbacks.
Thank you. With stakeholder identification, we are looking at things that you would want to get from all the people who would benefit from the product. So you would want each and every one to identify something. And in most cases, it comes with different ideas from different backgrounds. So you are able to get enough input to be able to get your results. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The drawback is that you have a larger group to deal with, and sometimes some decisions or some ideas may slip through. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank everyone because we've actually applied our ground rules, right? We may not have heard something before or how it applies to requirements elicitation. And because we have an open mind, I'm also learning, and I believe you are also learning, right? Good. So we've gone through a lot of them. Some of them are very familiar with us, meetings. That's why I didn't want to mention those ones. The ones that we are already familiar with, I didn't want to mention them. I wanted to bring out the things that personally I'm not familiar with in identification of requirements, eliciting requirements, and that is why I touched on those ones. At this point, I'm going to give you a link. There is a book that talks about requirements, elicitation, just about 28 pages that I'm going to share with you. So you take your phone, now you can go online, and you type bit.ly, then / bit.ly. Then you type the / capital R, small e, capital Q, small t, small s. A PDF document should open for you. Capital R, small e, e as in egg. So bit.ly / capital R, small e, capital Q, small t, and then small s. And a PDF document will come up. Now, that PDF document provides some way for our next session by Dr. Adoko. So please, any questions? One or two? Okay. So I think it was very interesting. Thank you all very much for your participation in this session.
Oh, and I thought a round of applause will help to close this section. This will definitely continue in your various offices.